Welcome to the Luxury Listing Specialist Podcast with Michael LaFido, where top luxury agents reveal their best practices, plus interviews with real estate industry influencers, thought leaders, and luxury marketing experts. You'll come away from each episode with new strategies and tactics to dominate high-end homes in any market. And now for the latest episode of Luxury Listing Specialist. Here's your host, luxury real estate expert, coach, and trainer, Michael LaFido.
Welcome back to another episode of the Luxury Listing Specialist Podcast. You're in the right place if you're an agent, a broker owner, a team leader, an expansion leader, and you're looking to work smarter, not harder as we close up 2018 and we head into 2019. Our goal for our listeners is to give you implementable ideas, actionable ideas that you can implement into your business so that you're working smarter, not harder, and you can increase the average sale price of a home in the portfolio that you represent for your given market. So, again, you can always listen to previous episodes on iTunes or Stitcher. Again, Luxury Listing Specialist on iTunes or Stitcher, or go to luxurylistingpodcast.com, luxurylistingpodcast.com. We have some good ones in the pipeline, and we have some awesome interviews in the past. Again, if you have any questions or you'd like to nominate somebody or you have a topic that you'd like us to cover that perhaps we haven't covered, please just send me an email over to michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, or give us a call, 888-930-8510. All right, this week's podcast, I'm really excited about it. I won't bore you with the details how I first stumbled about Keeping Current Matters, KCM, but this week's guest are really, I think, they've set the bar as far as using visuals to help agents win more opportunities, win more listings, win more buyers, manage the sellers and the buyers' expectations. And so I'm really excited to have both David and Morgan on today from Keeping Current Matters. Are both of you still there?
We are. Thank you, Michael. We're glad to be here.
Yep, we're here.
Absolutely. So either David or Morgan, tell the folks a little bit about Keeping Current Matters and what your role is there, and then we'll kind of get right into things, if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you. So we're so excited to be here. My name is Morgan Tranquist. I'm the senior content developer here at Keeping Current Matters. I've been with the crew since 2013, so a little over 5 years now. And we at Keeping Current Matters believe that every family should feel confident when buying and selling a home. This is our why. We actually have it on the wall in our office here. So it drives us to create content that real estate agents can use to simply and effectively explain what's going on in today's real estate market. We write a daily free blog that runs Monday through Friday that we encourage everyone listening to check it out if they haven't already. You can find it at keepingcurrentmatters.com/blog, or my favorite shortcut, which is kcmblog.com. Our members receive even more, including our seasonal buyer and seller guides, which our winter edition is actually launching this week. Our monthly market report, where we break down exactly what's going on in the national real estate market and give our members the tools they need to succeed and tips for helping their clients make the most powerful and confident decisions that they can.
Yeah, no, thank you, Morgan. And this is David. My role here is Vice President of Content. And really, we want to stand for helping agents give great answers to their clients on how's the market. It's a good time to buy or sell. What's coming next? Those are the things that, Michael, that we focus on each day through the blog, through all the things that Morgan mentioned, hopefully so that we do a good job of helping position agents as the expert in their local market. That's what we're passionate about.
Yeah, experts, and that's what we talk a lot about on this podcast, right? having the content, having the knowledge. I tell agents all the time, when you grow your knowledge, your confidence will grow. When you're more confident, you'll step outside of your comfort zone. You'll start maybe prospecting or going on appointments in areas that maybe you don't normally serve because you have the confidence. And so having the knowledge, having the tools, having visuals to be able to articulate data and manage clients' expectations is huge. And so that's why you guys are on. That's why I'm having Morgan and David and KCM on, Keeping Current Matters on, because it was 2010 when I first heard about your product and services. And, I mean, they have tons of agents using them. And so, again, big fan of yours. I wouldn't have you on if I wasn't. So
grateful for that.
So tell us a little bit about, KCM. We'll use KCM for short, and Keeping Current Matters. Tell us a little bit about how KCM started.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think it fits very well with what you just said. So KCM started a couple of years before, you mentioned finding us in 2010, around 2008, really out of the downturn. And as I think about that, and maybe ask people to think about that right now without going into, some type of bad space in their mind, there was so much confusion, misinformation in the market, and ultimately paralysis, and not knowing, what do we tell someone? What is coming next? How do we, as professionals, how do we do the best job we can to help families make the best decisions they can in transacting the largest financial decision investment of their lives? And so back then, you mentioned, Michael, that you met Steve, and really at that time, we were out there. Steve was speaking, and everybody wanted the slides from what he was speaking about, which was really an update on the market. So KCM at that time became really, a lighthouse for so many real estate professionals to help them answer those questions of, you're at a cocktail party and somebody says, how's the market? What do we say there? And give them not only here's what I think, but here's what I can back up, and I can show you this is how the market. And really, if you remember back then, what's coming next, and we certainly don't have a crystal ball, but we can say, okay, what are experts in our market saying is coming up for the next 6, 12, or 18 months? And ultimately, the question that everybody has on their mind at some point, is it a good time to buy or sell? So that was really the genesis of how Keeping Current Matters started, as a monthly subscription with a slide deck and commentary really around what I would say are the most pressing macro issues affecting the real estate market. We still do it today in our monthly market report. We produce a market commentary every 30 days that gives what are things that are happening nationally. How does that affect you as a real estate professional, and really give you the tools you need to accurately communicate to your customers, and obviously share those on social media, on blog posts, on videos, anything, any way that you're interacting with folks. And really from those days, we are extremely grateful that from a membership base, we serve over 20,000 members every month that come to us for that data, and tens of thousands of realtors that read the KCM blog that Morgan mentioned earlier. Every day, we produce a daily blog that we bring everything that our content team is developing, researching, and delivering to agents about what's happening in the market, what are pressing issues, and how does that affect you?
Well, when I first heard about you, I think you had 1,500 or 2,000 agents, so you're over 20,000 clients right now, which is a testament to the value you bring. It's really no-brainerish. We'll talk a little bit later about some of the pricing and that kind of stuff, but really appreciate what you guys do and what you bring to the marketplace. So in your opinion. What's your philosophy or opinion on the importance of connecting agents, speaking to agents? What's the importance of agents connecting their market to the national market?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because a lot of times people get, when they think about real estate, they think about like local. But if you can't connect what's going on in the national market to what's happening in your area, you could really run into some problems when you're talking to your clients. So anytime someone starts to think about buying or selling a house, they're going to start paying attention to the news. And instead of turning their radio down when they start getting to the news section or when they start talking about real estate, they're actually going to start turning that up, and they're going to start listening to it even more intently. It's kind of like when you buy a new car and the second you drive off the lot, you see that car everywhere. You start to get into that hypersensitive state of awareness where you start really paying attention because it's important to you, because you've made that decision in your head that you're either going to buy or sell in the near future. But unfortunately, the news anchors that they're listening to, or their HGTV hosts, or whoever they go to for, their real estate news at that time, they're not talking about what's going on in that buyer or seller's backyard. They're really talking about what's going on at a national level. So the biggest hurdle that an agent could have is when they first sit down with a buyer or seller and they want to tell them about what's happening in the real estate market, and they start talking about local. If it's not in line with what their client or their prospective client has already started to hear on a national scale, they're going to have to justify that and connect those dots. So one of the ways that they can definitely do that is acknowledge what the buyer or seller has heard and say, you know what, you're 100% right. On a national scale, prices are appreciating at that level. Let's break it down to our region, down to our state. Let's look at our town, and then let's look at our neighborhood, like what's going on in our particular area of the country. And let's say, if prices are appreciating by 6% nationally, but they're only appreciating by 2% in your backyard, you need to be able to connect those dots. And reversely, if home prices are appreciating at an even higher rate, you want to be able to let them know that too. So being able to intelligently speak to what's going on in the national market and connect it down to the local level is really the first way that an agent can really build that trust with their clients the first time that they're even sitting down at the kitchen table with them.
That's good information, and you're absolutely right. You're talking about something that it's called the reticulator activator. Your brain heightens your awareness of certain things, and again, when they're thinking about buying or selling, they want to make sure, when I say they, the consumer wants to make sure that they're, of course, going with someone they like and they trust, but how do you build trust? You build trust by understanding the market, by understanding trends, by understanding the local numbers, and being able to explain it and articulate it in a way that it's not rocket science, it's not, some left brain analytical electrical engineer explanation, but keeping it simple and using visuals. And that's again a big believer. I'm a big believer in that, and I think most agents can use what it is that you offer. What's the importance? I just used about visuals, but what's the importance of visuals? I'm a huge believer in it. I know Steve Jobs in his presentation secrets, used a ton of visuals. But what's been your experience over at KCM or your research on using visuals with clients, with prospective buyers, sellers, or current clients?
Sure. It's a great question. I would say, if you ask me, really, we started back talking about how KCM, was founded, and we're talking a little bit about where we are today. But we were founded on the principle that great visuals help us as real estate professionals communicate a message. Okay. There's study after study we could go into on how effective visuals are in educating. We did an infographic a while back that showed from a OSHA statistic that over 80% of folks in this country are visual learners. And retention of a concept when demonstrated, spoken or auditory and visually, goes up to over 60%. So if you say 4 out of 5 are visual learners, and there's 2 out of 3 chance that you're going to retain it if we're dealing with visuals, then as real estate professionals, we can't ignore that fact. I would say in tandem to that, we have a quote here that really is the essence of, if you were to say what do we stand for? I mean, Morgan mentioned our why, and we absolutely believe that every family should feel confident buying and selling a home. But Dave Ramsey, who most people know is a financial guru, said this. I want to read this quote because I have it right here. It says, "When getting help with money, whether it's insurance, real estate, or investments," this is speaking to the consumer, the buyer seller, "you should always look for someone with the heart of a teacher, not the heart of a salesman." And he talks about our industry specifically. So if you're looking for somebody who's real estate, look for somebody who has the heart of a teacher. That's what we believe, is that great real estate professionals have the heart of a teacher. And they're willing to take the time in every presentation to teach their clients. We do this day in and day out, month in, year out. And these transactions, we know, statistically are not that for buyers and sellers. While they may do them over a lifetime, they're not doing it every day. And so for us, I would say the job that we have, we believe, is to help our clients understand how the market really affects their situation. And going back to your question, powerful, relevant visuals give them the best opportunity, the best chance to understand what's going on in the nuances of this market. And really, I don't know we can say our job is done until each one of these clients has been fully informed. And, when I say that and think about our business and I think about what we do day in and day out, that's a great test for each one of us to look at it and say, is this what I'm doing every day? But also, if we do that, here's what we believe. It's going to help us build trust and ultimately be seen as the true professionals, really the expert in our market.
Hey there, it's Michael LaFido. Thanks again for listening to our podcast. If you are interested in signing up for our Luxury Listing Specialist certification, or if you want additional information on how you can dominate selling higher-end homes in your marketplace, make sure you go to luxurylistingspecialist.com.
Yeah, that's what we strive for, right? Being the expert in your market. If you're an expert, you advise your clients to either you point them in the right direction. And bottom line is many real estate professionals aren't trusted, right? Reader's Digest did something recently, and they rated the most trusted professionals, and real estate agents were like 37th or 38th. So how do you build that trust? And you do so by advising them, pointing them in the right direction. And in some cases, that's telling them not to purchase that house, or, telling them, don't tell them what they want to hear. And unfortunately, many agents do that. They tell sellers what they wanted to hear, or buyers, to get the book of business, to make the sale. And that's what salespeople do versus consultants. Consultants advise positively or negatively, but they're honest. They're honest, and they come from a teacher's standpoint. I love that quote from Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, it's powerful. When you adopt that mindset and really use it as a check in what we're doing every day, it can really change the way that we look at what we do.
Let's first off, I know you have. We have a couple more questions, but for those of you, we're talking about visuals, and so many people are like, man, maybe they haven't heard of KCM, or they haven't seen some of, the slides and the images that you offer. The good news for everybody listening, both David and Morgan shared with me you guys have a free 14-day trial where we can direct them to a website, and literally they can, kick the tires a little bit for a couple weeks and get to see some of the visuals and see what it is that I'm a big believer in and what it is you guys get to offer. And they can do that by going to trykcm.com, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so those of you that are listening, go ahead and write this down, enter it in your phone. You simply go to trykcm.com. Again, KCM stands for Keeping Current Matters. Trykcm.com. Tell them a little bit about what they can expect during that trial, David and Morgan.
Yeah, so you go there at trykcm.com. It'll take you a couple of minutes just to open up your full access account. So we don't. The great thing is we don't hold anything back in a free trial. So you'll have access to literally everything we do. You can see November's, and then on the 10th of December, the December year-end market monthly market report comes out. You have access to the KCM blog branded to you through our personalized post program. Morgan mentioned the buyer and seller guides, which come out on Friday, which is big, on the 30th of November. So by the time this airs, Michael, that may be out already.
It will be. Yeah,
they will be.
That, so we're going to air this the second week of December. So so they'll be the reports will be out. The December will be out. So if you guys go to trykcm.com, everything that David's talking about will be available to you, including the December end of the year snapshot. Sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's great timing, actually, because in those 14 days, even if they signed up the second that they listen to the podcast, they're going to actually hit that sweet spot of the cadence that we have of our quarterly, monthly, daily. Everything's going to align kind of in perfect harmony where they'll really get like a great snapshot of all of the different things that we offer.
Perfect.
And everything we offer is also personalized to the agent. So it takes about 5 minutes to fill out their profile. And once they do that, every single piece of content that they download from the site can have their picture on it, their website, their phone number, any of the things that they want, obviously their company name as well. But yeah, we try as hard as we can to make sure that we're representing exactly what's going on a national scale. We get down to a regional and state level when appropriate for the reports that we have available to us. And we really try to let people know what's coming, where we've been, and what's going on right now. So,
yeah. Well, one thing I would add there, and folks can make this determination, but, I was listening to your podcast. I believe it was the last one, maybe the one right before the last one, but we now have a video option that we launched this year, and so many people are using that option. I remember in your podcast you were saying, hey, it's not a fad. Video is here. If we want to talk about visuals, when we talk about video, it is multiplied in the impact and the impact it has on buyers and sellers. So we weekly do a video that is a consumer-targeted video that gives a current topic and explains it to them in a way that then prompts, let's get together and talk about this. Why you shouldn't wait to the screen to put your home on the market. Topics like that from a numbers standpoint and a definable standpoint on why we should have a conversation with them.
That's good. That's good. That's what many agents and human beings, you could have all the data in the world, but being able to articulate it and explain it. So it sounds like this video option does it for them.
Absolutely does. Branded to the agent and delivers that right to a format that they can put in front of their consumers on Facebook, via email, via any channel that they choose.
Oh, that's great. The last question, as we are, by the time this hits, we're going to be in December here. So we're finalizing 2018. What are experts? What are you guys finding out, and what are the experts saying about where home values are headed, in 2019?
That's a great question. We actually, as David mentioned earlier, we just had our monthly content meeting where we were discussing actually just that. What are the experts saying? So over the last few years, home prices have accelerated. This was mostly due to the fact that we've had a lack of listings available for sale. We've been well below the 6 months of inventory that we've needed for a historically normal housing market. So right now, what we're seeing is that there's many people out there that are fearful that we're due for some sort of correction in the market. And what we're seeing is that the housing price, well, we can cut that. Hold on.
No problem. So cut that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Let's start. So you were talking about like the housing market start?
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
I can start over.
So 3, no problem. 3, 2, 1.
All right, so that's actually a great question. We just had our monthly content meeting, as David had mentioned before, and we were discussing just that of where housing prices are headed in the next year. So over the last few years, home prices have accelerated, mostly due to a lack of listings available for sale. And high buyer demand has really driven many markets to appreciate by double-digit figures. And this has led many people to believe that we're destined for some sort of correction in the near future. Some are fearful that correction we're headed for is another housing bubble, but that's just not what we're seeing, and that's not what the indicators are really showing. And right now, we're still way below the 6 months of inventory we need for a historically normal market, where prices would only increase with inflation. The latest numbers from NAR, the National Association of Realtors, show that we're currently at a 4.3-month supply. So prices are still going to appreciate over the next year, but just not as much as they had in the past. And this makes people start to think that the housing market is slowing down and that we're headed for a negative turn, but that's just not the case. CoreLogic's latest home price index tells us that over the last 12 months, prices have risen by 5.6%. But their prediction for moving forward of this time next year is that prices will appreciate by 4.7%. So even though that number is lower, it's still a great return for any homeowner. And it's not grinding to a halt or reversing it in direction. One of the analogies we like to use is when you're cruising down the highway at 80 miles an hour and then you see a cop, you kind of like hit the brakes a little and go 65, which is still pretty fast, but it feels really slow to you because you were used to going at 80. So that's really what's going to be happening in the market over the next year. Every quarter, the Home Price Expectation Survey comes out, and they poll a nationwide panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists. And they ask them where they think prices are going over the next 5 years. Over the next year, they're pretty much in line with that CoreLogic projection as well, and they say that prices in 2019 will appreciate by 4.23%. If we combine those 100 economists along with Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Bankers Association, NAR, and CoreLogic, and also Ivy Zellman in her Z report, we get those 105 economists together and ask them where they think prices are going next year. Only one of them believes that prices will actually go down instead of going up, or having any appreciation. So 99% of all the economists that report on where prices are going are saying that we're going to still have appreciation next year.
Great. That's awesome. Good.
It's encouraging.
It's very encouraging. Some amazing content you just shared there and a lot of data. So, Morgan, one thing you mentioned, you talked about NAR statistics that across the country there's still on average about 4-point-something months of inventory. One of my favorite slides that I'm a big fan of and I still use is your month supply and how that affects if home prices are appreciating, depreciating, and 7. Do you still believe that 7 or more months is what we call a buyer's market where home prices depreciate? 5 or 6 months is kind of break even, and then 4 months or less is what we call a seller's market where home prices appreciate. Is that correct?
Yep. So that sweet spot of just appreciating on inflation is just what you said, right in that 5 to 6 months area. And we haven't actually had 6 months of inventory on a national level since August of 2012. So we've been solidly in a seller's market for a long time now. So that could make people a little fearful too if we start moving into that neutral market or into a buyer's market. But that's just the way real estate goes. The more inventory you have, if demand starts to fall off, which we don't see any indicator that demand's going anywhere. My generation, the millennials, are coming out. They're finally paying off their student loans, and they're finally out and saying, you know what, I don't want to rent anymore. And they're starting to make families, and really they want to live in a house just like they grew up in. So all indicators say that demand's going to be there for a long time now, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And, so what we really need is houses to match that demand. I know that you talk about the luxury market a lot, but in the starter and trade-up home market, there just isn't enough demand right now for all of those first-time home buyers.
I think the thing I would add to that is while we see growth going into, and I'm literally looking at the slide right now, growth going into the next 4 years of positive, home prices. The other important thing to realize too is NAR and MBA and folks who are looking at the size of the market see that expanding as well. And so that's what we can see right now is positive appreciation and growth in the market, and that is it may look different this coming year, but that's still there, and that's good news.
Great insight, great data, very encouraging, and I know the answer to this question, but folks, you might be saying, all right, the 14-day trial, go to trykcm.com, but you get all the data. If you decide to be a member, it's only $25. Is that correct, David?
That's correct, yeah.
$25 a month to get the monthly updated data, and give it a try. Go to trykcm.com and think about it. For $300 a year, you're going to have all the data, all the analytics, the visuals, etc., to help position yourself to bring great content to your market, to be more equipped to manage clients' expectations. It's really a no-brainer. Anything to add, David or Morgan, for any of the listeners?
No, we're excited to be able to share this message. So we're thankful to you for inviting us on. I think the thing I would say is, as we look into next year, anybody that we can help, we'd love to do it. And really, if there was one thing wrapping up the year that I would challenge everybody listening to this podcast on is, what am I going to do as a real estate professional to be a better educator in 2019? And I think if we all focus on that, then it's better off for our business, for us individually, and for buyers and sellers all across the country.
It's a great challenge. So I appreciate your time. Great information. Go to trykcm.com for your 14-day trial. Again, if anybody has questions about something on today's podcast or a previous podcast, or you want more information about our certification, by the time this airs, we would have done our final 13th live certification in 2018. Again, 75 to 80% of agents that have our certification do not attend the live training. They do it on demand, where you get a username and password and access to over 8 hours of content, 30 done-for-you documents. If you want more information, go to luxurylistingspecialist.com on the certification, or you can send us an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. Again, we have a book that's on Amazon, luxurylistingspecialist.com, or excuse me, Luxury Listing Specialist, and it's on Amazon. It's an easy read, a lot of visuals. I use a lot of visuals. You'll be proud of me there, David and Morgan, in our books as well, just because we can hammer home a point, and it's retained by the readership a lot more. So thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions, let me know. We got some exciting podcasts coming out, so keep an eye out for those. Go to iTunes or Stitcher, or go to luxurylistingpodcast.com. My name is Michael LaFido, and remember, it's not the market, it's the marketing. Go make somebody's day. Take care.